Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories viewed here can be found at our website, IndianCountryNews.com. Here's the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native American news sources. About 340 bartenders and beverage servers at the Foxwoods Resort Casino have overwhelmingly voted against having union representation. The president of the Westport, Connecticut-based Local 371 of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union says 207 workers voted no and 133 voted yes. Union President Brian Petronella says he remains optimistic that future efforts to unionize will garner more support. Had representation been approved, Local 371 would have become the second union to represent Foxwoods workers. The United Auto Workers is in negotiations with the casino on a contract for dealers. The Mashantucket Pequot tribe owns and operates the Foxwoods Casino. The Lacta Flambeaux Chippewa in Wisconsin have agreed to pay $3.7 million in back payments under a new casino agreement it signed with the state this week. The deal ends a 5-year stalemate during which the tribe did not pay the state anything for the casino it operates on its reservation in northern Wisconsin. It was the only one of 11 tribes in Wisconsin not making payments to the state. An automatic 5-year extension of the tribe's compact with the state that began in 2004 did not require annual payments. The deal announced by the State Department of Administration requires the tribe to pay $3.7 million in back payments, or roughly $740,000 for each of the 5 past years, and makes a supplemental payment of $500,000 over the next decade. Also, starting in the year 2010, a percentage of the casino's net winnings will be paid to the state. Terms of the agreement are roughly equivalent to the deals reached with other tribes in the state of Wisconsin. An archaeological study of the proposed site for a new high school in Putnam County, West Virginia, has unearthed more than 300 artifacts. The discovery was announced recently at a county school board meeting. Superintendent Chuck Hatfield said the artifacts mainly consisted of stone tools and arrowheads. Hatfield said the proposed 40-acre site of the new Buffalo High School is within an artifact-rich area. The study in West Virginia is being conducted by the Pennsylvania-based archaeological firm, and county voters will be deciding in September whether to approve a construction bond for the school plan for that site. The Oklahoma State Senate plans to dedicate an original painting on April 13th that will hang in the Capitol Senate chambers of Creek journalist and poet Alexander Posey. Posey is the best known for his insights into Creek politics and native customs, which he recorded in his poetry, journalism, and political satire. He lived through a crucial period in the history of the Creek Nation when the tribe's land base and political autonomy was threatened by assimilation to Euro-American culture. During his short 35 years, Posey served in the lower chamber of the Creek National Council, was secretary of the Sequoia Convention, was an administrator to tribal schools, and established the Eufaula Indian Journal. Brown University in Rhode Island is taking the Columbus Day out of the Columbus Day weekend. The faculty voted recently to establish a new academic holiday in October called Fall Weekend. The long weekend coincides with the Columbus Day celebration, typically on a Monday. Hundreds of Brown students had asked the Providence School to stop observing Columbus Day, citing the explorer's violent treatment of Native Americans he encountered. Ray Koyama, a sophomore who led the effort, says celebrating Columbus Day seemed to be inconsistent with the Brown University's values. The change will take effect in the fall. Excuse me. Brown will remain closed on Columbus Day in part to avoid inconveniencing staff whose children might have the holiday off. Sir Ben Kingsley's SBK Pictures and Louise Morrow Productions have announced the additions of Keith Harper and Eric Huey as executive producers in the features film Whispers Like Thunder, written by Trip Books and Louis Morrow. Based on actual events, the film will detail the story of 3 Native American sisters who fought the U.S. government for 67 years to protect their ancestral native burial grounds. It is a sweeping epic that stretches from the Wyandotte Trail of Tears in the 1850s to the United States Supreme Court nearly a century later. Keith Harper is a highly respected representative for Native American affairs and has represented tribes and individual Indians in some of the most high-profile litigation in the country. A member of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, Mr. Harper has recently served as an advisor to the Obama campaign on Native American policy and outreach. The National Law Journal has recognized Harper as one of the 50 most influential minority lawyers in the United States and America. American Indian heritage and artistry will be celebrated during the 41st annual Kaiho celebration at the University of Montana, April 17th through the 18th. Events kick off with a grand entry in the Adams Center there in Missoula, Montana. This year's theme is Walking in Two Worlds. The celebration features champion dancers and drummers. Earl Oldperson of Browning and Reuben Littlehead of Lawrence, Kansas will be serving as the master of ceremonies for those events. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us with this broadcast and our studio technicians today, Nick Vanderpine, Lonnie Barber. Join us again soon. Miigwech.